When someone asks how you are doing, is your automatic response always a sigh, followed by, "Oh, I'm just so busy"?
We have turned busyness into a badge of honor, as if having a packed calendar is the only proof that our lives actually matter.
Yeah, it has really become this unconscious reflex for most of us.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everyone to a special Skillify English edition of our Deep Dive.
Glad to be here for this one.
We're taking a story-based English learning approach today to really pull apart this massive cultural obsession we all seem to share. This intense need for constant, unrelenting activity.
And for our listeners who are using this deep dive to improve their English, we really want to establish right away that this is a safe, comfortable space.
Exactly. Completely stress-free.
Right. This specific deep dive is targeted at B1 and B2 English comprehension. So our goal is clear, natural communication. You definitely don't need to pause and search the dictionary for every single unfamiliar word.
Please don't do that. Dictionary fights are permanently banned here. Just let the conversation flow over you like calm background music. We are focusing on the context and the big ideas today, not, stress testing your vocabulary.
That's the best way to learn, honestly.
It is. And the core issue we are tackling today is this strange modern reality where we wear our exhaustion like a shiny metal. It looks incredibly impressive to the outside world, but quietly, behind closed doors, we are just wearing ourselves down to nothing.
Which means our ultimate goal for this discussion is to map out a transition for you. We want to figure out how to move from a frantic, chaotic lifestyle to a slow, intentional one.
I am certainly ready for that transition in my own life. Let's get right to the root of the problem. Why do we feel this intense, heavy guilt the very minute we stop producing something?
That heavy feeling, yeah.
It feels almost like committing a crime when you just sit still on a weekday evening.
Well, to understand that guilt, we have to look at the psychological mechanism behind it. It involves a concept called conditioning.
Conditioning, okay.
Yeah, society essentially trains our brains from a very young age not to be lazy. We are taught to link our physical output directly to our fundamental value as human beings.
So we are trained to equate doing things with being worthy.
Exactly. Think about the school system, right? You receive praise, gold stars, good grades when you complete tasks. Your brain actually releases dopamine, which is that chemical that makes you feel good, every single time you get that external validation.
Wait, let me challenge that premise for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
You are framing this as, modern societal conditioning. But hasn't humanity always had to labor constantly just to survive? I mean, farming from sunrise to sunset, building shelter, gathering food. Isn't this drive for constant motion just our basic, primitive human nature?
That is a really crucial distinction to make. Yes, humans have always labored to survive physically, but, and this is the big, but a farmer in the agricultural age stopped working when the sun went down.
Right, because they couldn't see anything.
Exactly. The work was tied to the physical limits of the day. Today, however, our work is tied to our identity and our status, and there is no literal sunset on a digital inbox.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the inbox is always there.
Always. We are no longer just working to put food on the table. We are working to secure our place in the social hierarchy. The conditioning tells us that if we stop moving, we lose our relevance.
That completely shifts how I view my own calendar. I mean, I'm not just scheduling meetings. I'm holding at my packed schedule like a childhood report card, screaming to the world, look, I am successful.
Yes, it's a performance.
But the dark side of that report card mentality is the profound anxiety of empty time. Like if you try to sit on the sofa for just 10 minutes on a Tuesday night, your brain immediately whispers, shouldn't you be doing something productive? The laundry's sitting right there.
And notice what happens in your body when that internal whisper starts. You are physically on the sofa, sure, but your heart rate elevates.
You feel tense.
Your mind starts racing. You are not actually resting, you are just pausing anxiously. We do this because we are stuck in a mindset that life is something we are preparing for, rather than something we are actually living right now.
Preparing for life instead of living it. That hits really close to home.
It's true for so many of us. We treat our current days as mere stepping stones to this imaginary future. We tell ourselves, once I finish this massive project, once my inbox is at zero, once the house is perfectly organized, then I will finally relax and enjoy my life.
But the inbox is never at zero.
Exactly. That future never actually arrives because the finish line just keeps moving. A profound takeaway from the source material is that life can not only exist in a future where everything is finally finished, it has to happen right now, right in the middle of all the messy, unfinished tasks.
So the obvious logical question is If the finish line keeps moving, and waiting for this perfect, unbusy day means we miss out on our entire actual lives, why do we continue to cling to the busyness so tightly? We know it makes us miserable.
We complain about it constantly.
We really do.
Well, psychologists note that slowing down is actually deeply uncomfortable and even terrifying for most people.
Terrifying. Why?
Because when you are constantly moving, answering emails, rushing to appointments, running errands, your brain doesn't have the capacity to process complex emotions. Busyness acts as a highly effective emotional shield.
Oh, I see. So it's a distraction.
A major one. In those rare, quiet moments when the calendar is finally empty, the silence forces us to face our real suppressed feelings.
And we don't want to do that.
No. You might have to confront a deep lack of purpose or an unhappy relationship or just general existential dread. Staying busy is simply an avoidance tactic.
So we are just running away from our own thoughts.
Basically, yes.
And I suspect a major tool we use to keep running is our absolute inability to say the word no.
Oh, definitely. Let's deepen that concept. Think about the underlying psychology of saying yes to every request from your colleagues or your extended family.
We usually label it as being kind, right? Or being a good team player.
Right, but deep down, it is almost always driven by a fear of conflict and a fear of disappointing others. We mistake that fear for kindness. We are prioritizing their momentary comfort over our own long-term well-being.
There was a line from the sources that perfectly captured the cost of that. It said, "Every unnecessary yes you say to someone else is a quiet, heavy no to your own peace and rest."
A quiet, heavy no. That is exactly it. That is the formula for burnout. You are trading away your internal resources to avoid temporary social friction.
And eventually you hand out so many pieces of your time and your energy that you have absolutely nothing left to sustain your own life.
You end up running on empty.
Running on empty, yeah. And I want to get really specific about the physical reality of this because it connects what you just said about the brain lacking capacity. After a day of handing out all your energy, you come home. Your body is physically on the couch, but mentally, you are still at the office.
Your brain is still churning.
Exactly. You are replaying a tense conversation with your manager, or you're worrying about tomorrow's deadline. The battery is at zero. So when your partner asks a simple question like, "What do you want for dinner?" it suddenly feels like a massive, stressful decision.
Like you're being asked to solve advanced calculus?
Yes. Why does that happen?
What you are describing is a documented psychological phenomenon known as decision fatigue. Throughout the day, every single choice you make, from writing a complex email to just navigating traffic, it consumes glucose in your brain.
So it physically drains you.
It literally drains your biological battery. By 7:00 p.m., your brain is functioning on reserve power. The simplest choice becomes overwhelming because the mechanism in your brain responsible for executive function is just temporarily depleted.
Okay, so if our daily energy is biologically limited, we have to take a hard look at how we are actually spending our hours. We have to find where that energy is leaking out.
To save our energy, yes, we absolutely do.
Let me try an analogy here to visualize this. Imagine your daily time is like a finite amount of water in a bottle.
Okay, I'm picturing a water bottle.
Wasting that water on things that don't help you grow or rest is like pouring your water directly onto the floor. But instead of water, let's look at the brain, like a computer's central processing unit, the CPU.
Oh, I like where this is going.
You only have so much processing power. When you are at work, dealing with stress, navigating all these relationships, it is like having 50 heavy applications open on your computer all at once. The battery is draining fast.
Very fast.
So, you decide to take a break by sitting down and mindlessly scrolling through social media. You think your computer is resting because you aren't actively typing a work email. But scrolling isn't closing those heavy background apps.
Not at all.
In fact, it is opening 50 new browser tabs of other people's lives, their opinions, their highlight reels. Your CPU is still running at maximum capacity, quietly draining to zero while you think you're resting.
That is a brilliant way to explain pseudo-productivity. Those background applications, the scrolling, they are what we call time thieves.
Time thieves, yeah. They steal your time without giving anything in return.
Exactly. Social media platforms are engineered by behavioral scientists to hijack your attention using variable rewards. They give your brain tiny, unpredictable hits of dopamine to keep you scrolling.
But at the same time, viewing all those idealized lives triggers cortisol, right, the stress hormone.
Yes. because you are unconsciously comparing yourself to them. This creates what we call a time fog.
A time fog.
Right, a state where you aren't enjoying yourself, you aren't making real-life connections, but you're simply consuming digital noise.
You are just trapped in the fog while your battery secretly plummets. So how do we get out of the fog?
The only way to stop the battery drain is to start actively closing the tabs. You have to implement small, deliberate rules to protect your focus.
Give me an example of an actionable rule.
Well, the most actionable step you can take today is physical separation from the time thieves. For instance, if you want to focus on learning English with this deep dive, your phone cannot be resting on the desk next to you. It must be in another room.
I am going to push back on the practicality of that.
Okay, let's hear it.
Putting the phone in another room sounds wonderful in theory. But in reality, my boss expects me to be reachable. My child's school might need to call me. For someone in a demanding job or a busy parent, intentionally separating from the phone feels not just impractical, but potentially irresponsible.
That is a very valid concern, and it really highlights how deeply we conflate urgency with importance.
What do you mean by that?
We operate under the illusion that every notification is a crisis. Yes, you need to be reachable for genuine emergencies regarding your children, but an email at 8:00 p.m. about a marketing strategy is not an emergency.
That's fair.
The solution is communicating availability and establishing focus windows. You don't have to put your phone in another room for 3 entire days. You do it for 45 minutes.
Small windows.
Exactly. You tell your team, I'm going offline for deep work, call me if there is a literal fire. You actively carve out protected space rather than waiting for the world to generously grant you some free time.
Because the world is never going to just grant you free time.
Never.
It requires a shift from being reactive, just letting the world interrupt you constantly, to being proactive. And, shifting how we live requires the right vocabulary to express these new boundaries.
It absolutely does.
Which perfectly brings us to the word tour segment of our deep dive.
I was wondering when we'd get here. For our English learners, this is where we officially slow the pace down just a bit for clear B1, B2 retention.
We are going to seamlessly weave in and define 4 target phrases we've touched on today, linking them directly to our journey from burnout to balance. Our first phrase is the one that kicked off this entire conversation in the intro, badge of honor.
Right. Typically, a badge of honor is a literal medal or a pin you wear proudly to show you have achieved something difficult. But here, we use it metaphorically.
Like using a packed schedule to prove our worth.
Exactly. When we say someone treats busyness as a badge of honor, it means they're using their high stress levels to signal their importance. They want people to look at their packed calendar and think, wow, they must be very successful and important.
But the reality of wearing that badge of honor means living a life that is our second word, frantic.
Frantic. It's a very descriptive adjective. It doesn't just mean moving fast. It means moving with a sense of panic, anxiety, and chaos.
Like maximum speed chaos that leaves us running on empty.
Right. A busy person might be working hard with good focus, but a frantic person is trying to answer an email, eat a sandwich, and feed the dog all at the exact same time, usually while feeling a tight sensation in their chest.
Just action driven by the fear of falling behind. Now, the antidote to that frantic lifestyle and the cure for those time leaks is our third word, deliberate.
To be deliberate is to do something intentionally, with careful thought. It is the opposite of living on autopilot.
So making careful choices to protect focus and say no.
Yes. Leaving your phone in the kitchen while you read a book is a deliberate choice. You are creating a boundary on purpose. When you live deliberately, you choose how to spend your energy rather than letting time thieves steal it.
And when you are finally deliberate with your boundaries, you create the space for our fourth word, which is an essential verb, unwind.
Unwind literally means to unroll something twisted, like a tangled ball of string. Mentally, it means to release the tension that is built up.
Truly letting go of pseudo-productivity to relax.
Yes. Crucially, as we discussed with the CPU analogy, unwinding is not just sitting on the couch while the mind stays at the office. To truly unwind means to power down those background apps and allow your nervous system to return to calm.
Badge of honor, frantic, deliberate, and unwind. And this is big, but there is a trap here that I see people fall into all the time when they try to unwind.
Oh, the optimization trap.
Yes. We realize we need to build a sustainable, balanced routine, so we turn relaxation into just another frantic task.
We do. We really do.
We decide we need to wake up at 5 a.m., do 45 minutes of meditation, drink some complex green smoothie, and journal for an hour. Oh. We try to optimize our peace, and it becomes another exhausting to-do list.
That happens because we apply the exact same conditioning that need to produce results to our rest.
It's exhausting.
It is. True sustainability isn't about waking up at 4 a.m. to run and study. The real secret to a sustainable life is a concept we call letting things slide.
Letting things slide. You mean actively choosing to leave things messy?
Precisely. A routine that only functions when you have 9 hours of sleep, zero stress, and a spotless house is completely useless in the real world.
Because that world doesn't exist.
Right. A genuinely sustainable routine is one that works on a messy, tired Tuesday. If your battery is at 0, you let the laundry slide for a day. You ignore the dishes in the sink. You deliberately accept imperfection to protect your peace.
There's a quote from the sources that perfectly highlights this balance. It says, "Making the most of your time is not about squeezing more tasks into your day. It is about losing less of yourself inside the day."
Losing less of yourself. I love that. When you cram your day with obligations just to earn your badge of honor, you are slowly chipping away at your own identity. You sacrifice your joy just to maintain a facade of productivity.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to speak directly to you, our listener. Your value as a human being is not measured by the size of your to-do list.
It really isn't.
You do not need to earn your rest. Rest is not a reward for good behavior. It's a basic, fundamental human need.
And we want to issue a call to action for you to take into your evening. Protect your peace tonight by deliberately letting something slide. Look at the tasks demanding your attention and choose one to simply ignore until tomorrow.
Leave the dishes in the sink. Put the digital time thieves in another room. Give your brain CPU a real chance to close all those tabs so you can truly unwind.
And for all our listeners using this deep dive to sharpen their B1 and B2 English skills, be sure to access the free PDF guide in the description. It contains the full transcript, comprehension exercises, and a deeper dive into the vocabulary from our word tour.
Yes, definitely check that out. We also want to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell us, in English, what quietly steals the most time from your day. Identifying those specific time thieves is the very first step toward living a deliberate life.
Before we go, we want to leave you with one final lingering question to mull over, expanding on our discussion about the digital noise we consume.
Right. We all understand that the physical food we eat shapes our physical health. If you eat junk food every day, your body becomes sluggish. But here is the provocative thought we want you to explore tonight. If the physical items we consume shape our physical health, how is the constant relentless stream of digital noise we consume during our frantic hours subtly rewriting our actual personalities?